A very good morning to all our Sports Today family members. We are building up to the India versus West Indies second test, but the major focus is on the Ashes. Yes, on the field there will be plenty of action, but off the field also there continues to be a lot of problems that is plaguing the Ashes. In particular, two players from the same two teams. Australia and England are facing various challenges off the field also. In this morning wrap, I will tell you what has been happening in the world of sports, not just cricket, but from other sports as well. And let us get immediately to the first major talking point, that is Sunil Gavaskar. Now remember, a couple of weeks back, Sunil Gavaskar had expressed disappointment with Rohit Sharma's captaincy. He had also questioned the fitness and discipline of the Indian cricket team, because he said, if you are the top team in the world, why is your fitness so low? Why do you break down so often? Well, when the entire idea exchange program that the Indian Express did, the entire transcript was out recently, and in that there was one major talking point about the captaincy. This was kind of an indirect dig at MS Dhoni that Sunil Gavaskar took, because he said, when you have lost 0-4 away consecutively in England and Australia, even then the captain still remains. The captain's place is assured. So, when there are losses overseas, there is no major changes. And that is the major problem that is plaguing the Indian cricket team at this point in time. Normally, if you look at the other teams, say for example Australia or England, they would demand wholesale changes if you lose a major tournament or series. In the case of England in 2015, when England touched rock bottom, at that time there was a change in mindset, change in personnel, and because of that now England are the undisputed kings of white ball cricket at this point. In India, if you look at it, MS Dhoni has won everything in white ball cricket, but in red ball cricket it kind of stagnated with the 4-0 losses that we had in 2011 and 2012 to England and Australia. But did that get major changes in? No. Because Dhoni remained the captain of the Indian cricket team in test matches at least until 2014. After that, Virat Kohli was handled the responsibility, and yes, in his captaincy tenure, Virat has done incredibly well, winning a series in Australia, but unfortunately not able to conquer South Africa and New Zealand. So, in this manner, whenever a team loses in a big way, there are not many changes in the captaincy when it comes to Indian cricket. And that is one of the reasons why Indian cricket is slightly below in the pecking order now. Remember, 10 years, a lot of issues are now been raked up because for 10 years we have not won an ICC event. There are two major events in 2023 out of which India has lost one, that which was the ICC World Test Championship final. In October-November 2023, you're going to have the ODI World Cup at home. It represents the last chance for India to win. If they do not win, well, then there will be questions on the legacy that Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli and all will leave behind, because you want to end on a high and leave behind a legacy. Will that happen if India does not do well in the ODI World Cup? It remains to be seen. But yes, whenever there are major losses, there is reticence to change. And that is why at the top also, the captain is assured of a spot. The rest of the teams, maybe that's not the approach. We are just one day away from the fourth test between England and Australia in the Ashes. England have already announced their playing 11 with James Anderson coming in place of Ollie Robinson. Remember, Ollie Robinson suffered an injury and that is why he is not there in the Ashes contest. But Anderson coming back to his home ground at Old Trafford. Maybe this is the last chance for Anderson to do well in this Ashes, because remember, if Anderson doesn't do well, we could see a major call being taken. And remember, England will have to win Old Trafford. If they draw or lose it, the Ashes stays with Australia. And speaking about Australia, there is only one spot that is potentially up for grabs, and that is David Warner. Will David Warner retain his place in the fourth test? Because remember, so far he's not set the stage on fire. He may have had a couple of 50s, but yet again that Stuart Broad bogey ensures that his mind is totally shattered at this point in time. So, in this way, Warner, if he goes out, who replaces him? Is it an opener in Marcus Harris? Will Travis Head get a promotion? If Travis Head gets a promotion, then does Mitchell Marsh and Cameron Green play? That is the situation that Australia will have to really work upon. Because remember, Cameron Green has declared that he is fit for the 4th test. Australia hold all the aces. Maybe Hazelwood comes back in place of Scott Boland. That is the one change that Australia probably mulling at this point in time. But Warner, will he play Old Trafford? And if he's dropped for the remainder of the 2 tests, is it curtains on his international test career then? We all have to wait and watch. The match begins in the next 24 hours, so stay tuned for all the latest Ashes updates. Moeen Ali. Now, Moeen Ali has said he will bat at number 3 and he will ensure that England really put up a good show here. But off the field, there has been a major controversy regarding Michael Vaughan. Remember, Michael Vaughan made a very strange and kind of xenophobic Muslim remark about 7 years ago. And for that, Michael Vaughan may have apologized. But now, in a documentary that Channel 4 is going to air soon about racism in cricket, Moeen Ali has really criticized Michael Vaughan. And it comes in the backdrop of England and the Lord's fallout as well. Because remember, abuse was directed at one particular individual, and that was Usman Khawaja. And whether the abuse was racist in nature, that we will come to know soon, because this week you're going to have the members of the MCC in front of the King's Council. I will be doing a separate video on Usman Khawaja at the cuss words that were used. And he has indeed remarked, I will not be able to take my kids to the test match, because if this kind of an environment persists, then the abuse that is directed is simply unacceptable. But when it comes to England, this is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the racism issue, which is absolutely deep-rooted. And Moeen Ali, I will be doing a separate video on the details of what was said in that. And then about the Usman Khawaja incident also, I will be doing a separate thing on what was exactly said. So stay tuned to Sports Today for all the latest updates on that. You will probably know this individual, his acrobatic calisthenics that he does when he takes a wicket. I mean, when he takes a wicket, he does a total flip, 360-degree flip, and that is why he has been included in the second test squad for the West Indies. Kevin Sinclair, an off-spinning all-rounder who hails from Guyana. He has been included in the team and he's replaced Raymond Reifer. Raymond Reifer, remember, he's a left-handed bowler. He didn't have that much of an impact. Kevin Sinclair is going to come in for the second test for the West Indies that begins on Thursday against India at Port of Spain. Now remember, Port of Spain has traditionally been a very slow deck compared to the 80s and the 90s where it was absolutely fast. But now, in this decade, it has changed into a slow, low deck. That is why now West Indies are boosting their spin reserves. Now, let's shift to other sports, and Guangzhou 2023 is just a couple of months away. And there is an announcement that India will send close to 800 members in their contingent for the Asian Games in Guangzhou. Because according to a report that is there in the Times of India, around 800 athletes named as part of the Indian contingent. India will be sending its biggest ever contingent for the upcoming Asian Games in Guangzhou. Remember, this is a massive increase of about 276 which was there. You can see in this particular headline that is there, around 800 athletes named part of the Indian squad. It's a TOI report that has been done. Because remember, in Jakarta, Palembang in 2018, there were 524 athletes. A huge increase of 276. And following the final selection of the athletes, the coaches and support staff personally named, they will form 33% of the total contingent size. The government will have time until July 26 to withdraw entries submitted to the organizer if it feels the squads in certain disciplines don't have the potential to win medals. So until July 26th, you can have that kind of leverage that, okay, from 800, it can be trimmed down to an even lower number, but 800 members. It shows that India's willingness to do well in the Asian Games is really promising, and that's why a massive contingent. From 524 in Jakarta, Palembang in 2018 to now 800, 276 more. In the world of football, the Concacaf tournament was recently held, and Mexico, for a record 9th time, They defeated Panama 1-0, and that's why they are now the proud winners of the Concacaf Cup. Simon Jimenez scored the goal, and that is why now 1-0 Mexico are the winners of the Concacaf Cup. So congratulations to them for putting up a massive display. Remember, North American football is really in a big thing. Recently, yesterday, we saw Lionel Messi being unveiled as part of the Inter Miami squad, along with Sergio Busquets, who will join him. Now, in the Concacaf Cup as well, Mexico defeating Panama 1-0. It's a big thing indeed. I spoke about the Asian Games. Now it's time for the Commonwealth Games. You all know that 2026, the Commonwealth Games might be hosted in Victoria. Here's the shocker. Victoria will not be able to host the 2026 Commonwealth Games because of budget constraints. Now remember, this is coming in Australia, a country that has always hosted sporting events and has always been one of the greatest destinations to go to. If Victoria cannot host the 2026 Commonwealth Games, where will it go now? The question remains as to the next destination of the Commonwealth Games. Remember, 2022 it was hosted in Birmingham, 2018 and 2014 it was hosted in Glasgow, and that is why now 2022 Birmingham and 2026, where will the Commonwealth Games be held? That is the major question that everyone's asking at this point. We all know that the WFI elections were going to be held soon. The Wrestling Federation of India was soon to hold elections, but now it looks to be postponed even further because according to a report that is there in the Hindustan Times, WFI elections have faced a fresh delay because in addition to Assam, Tripura now has also petitioned the High Court. Because what is the main situation that the WFI elections are facing at this point? The Wrestling Federation of India faces fresh delays with the Tripura state unit now petitioning the High Court of Tripura for being excluded from the Electoral College. You can see in this particular Hindustan Times report that WFI elections, why is it happening? Why is Assam and Tripura raising such an issue? Because the election which was supposed to be held on July 11th was stayed by the Guwahati High Court on a plea by the Assam Wrestling Association, seeking to be included in the electoral list as a recognized state of the WFI. So, in addition to Guwahati, WFI had illegally disqualified disaffiliated state bodies during the 12-year reign. So, when it disaffiliated state units, Assam and Tripura were one of them. Now, they want to be part of the electoral college when it comes to the elections. So, that's why Assam and Tripura's pleas have ensured that the WFI election faces a long delay. The next hearing for this matter is on July 28th. Now, what will happen on July 28th is anybody's guess at this point. So, lot of delays when it comes to the Indian sporting administration. On the other hand, you're seeing that the wrestling trials seem to be heading into a stalemate of kind. We don't know who's going to participate in the trials, who will be in it. It's all in a limbo at this point in time. So, India, West Indies, you're building up to England versus Australia in the Ashes. We are going to come back with a lot more stories about the racism issues that are facing both Moeen Ali and Usman Khawaja. Stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for joining us for this morning wrap. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. And don't forget, we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you.